How can I, 38F, get my husband, 40M, to parent my kid again after I stopped his punishment? New account specifically for this problem I am having with my husband. Let me first say my oldest son is in his last year of high school and is not the biological son of my husband. My husband and I have been married for 14 years now and have 2 other beautiful children together. My oldest son's father is not in the picture. My husband is dad in all respects to my son. All the above said is just to clarify our dynamics. I do love him a lot as he cares for me and cares for all the kids the same. I have never seen any favoritism of any kind towards another. 2 weeks ago, while my husband and I were on our way home on the highway, a car came speeding past us. My husband asked me if that was our son because it was the exact same car we bought him. My husband sped up and caught up to the car. I think we were doing 95 when we caught up. Don't quote me on the speed, please. I really only remember my husband saying, "Why the heck is he driving 90?" I digress. It was our son driving, and he was on his phone while speeding through traffic. I think he was texting because we could clearly see him having both hands busy with his phone from the opposite lane. I wanted my husband to honk at him, but he said no, that might just cause issues and catch him off guard and cause an accident. When we got home, we parked behind our son. My husband walked into the living room and just held out his hand and said, "Give me the keys." My son asked why, and my husband raised his voice, saying, "Give me the keys." When my son took the keys out of his pocket, my husband grabbed them and told him, "You are no longer allowed to drive that car," and he left the room. He looked at me and asked what was going on, and I told him we saw him on the highway, and his eyes got all big, and he struggled to say anything. About an hour later, I heard my husband yell from the kitchen, "I don't care about your job or school, you can walk, take the bike, or the bus. I don't care, you will not be driving that car again." Apparently, my son went to him and apologized and asked for the keys back because he needed to get to work. My son came to me a week ago and asked for the keys because he needed to get to work, and it was raining. He apologized to me again and said it wouldn't happen again. I relented and gave him the keys, and he went off to work. My husband came home and, without saying hello, just asked where the car was. I told him that I gave the keys back to our son so that he could get to work. He used the same line on me, saying, "I told you, and you heard me, he isn't allowed to drive anymore, and he could have taken the bike, bus, or walked." I told him it was raining, so I gave him the keys. I told him that he apologized and said it would never happen again. My husband cut me off and said, "An apology won't stop an accident or bring him back from the or bring other people back from the He hasn't learned a thing." I told him I paid half for the car and it was a gift from us to my son, and I also have a say in what happens to it. He looked at me and said, "Okay, fine, all parental decisions will now fall to you. You are the authority on that, so everything is now on your head." Since then, my husband hasn't done a single thing for my son or any of the other kids regarding discipline. When they ask for something, he just says, "Go ask your mother." Our kids are having free rein around him, and he just steps over every mess they make. When I asked him why he didn't stop our younger child from writing on the walls, he just shrugged and walked off. I tried to talk to him, and he said, "You got what you asked for. No matter what I do, you seem to be the authority on any decisions about our kids, so I just removed the middleman, and you can deal with them," and he walked off. What do I do? How can I get him to help parent our kids again? I am at the end of my rope, and the kids aren't really listening to me like they do to him, but he is just allowing them now to do whatever they want. Edit, messed up the title. I am exhausted and can't handle everything alone anymore. Sorry if my post is all over the place, I just need advice. If questions need to be asked, I will answer in the comments. Title meant to say our kids. Top comments, 1. OP, this here very clearly indicates that overruling him seems to be a, very often, recurring pattern, and his patience has run out. The only way you might be able to get him back on the job is if you actually, for once, start not undermining his parenting. Replies to comment 1. He's not wrong and it's up to you to fix this. I hate this undermining business even though it's true. She doesn't need to stop undermining, she needs to start being a damn parent. Right. When OP says they don't listen to her like they do him but he's just letting them do what they want, it's very clear that she has been letting them do what they want their entire lives. Of course they won't listen to her. Top comment 2. Couple thoughts here, you didn't speak to your husband privately about his punishment and give him time to rethink his current position. You just went behind his back and gave the keys. Your son was taught, I just need to plead with mom and she'll give in. I agree that your son was incredibly reckless and should have had his keys taken away. If he wants to get to work, he can bike in the rain. How can I get him to help parent our kids again? Your husband wanted to teach your son about consequences. Right now, there aren't any, and your husband doubts if you will be there to support him or at the very least reach a compromise during a private discussion. You don't do that by going behind his back. Yes, you paid half for the car, but you didn't solve this like parents, where you rely on one another. You could have even compromised by making your son do driving classes as part of his punishment, which he would have to pay for. You might need to have a private sit down with your husband and apologize going over his head. Replies to top comment 2. That's the comment that got me. I paid for half the car. So? What does that matter? Your son committed many illegal acts at once and put countless number of lives on the line, including your own while he zoomed past you while texting. Who cares who paid for the car? She paid for half the car. She can pay for all the bail when that entitled brat gets stopped and arrested. Top comment 3. This. So much this. Don't let your kid text and drive. That's a non-starter OP. You know how many people have been kicked by people doing this? That's the end of the comments. If I were to include all the relevant and interesting comments here, the video would be about 2 hours long. That's the end of this story for now. Let's see if we get an update in the next few days. Do you think OP was right or wrong? Comment down below. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification button to stay updated on this story and stories like it. Hope you enjoyed. See you next time.